Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She's like running all over the place. She's always busy. She's got things going on. I love the shirt. She is an amazing designer. And the shirt kind of says it all. We're going to talk about some of the projects she's working on today. Lynda Griffin is back with us. How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
How was your
good.
weekend?
It was fantastic, actually. Celebrated a friend's birthday. Went to Snooki's new store. I don't know, Snooki from from Jersey Shore.
I do
Yeah,
know a Snooki.
yeah. She has a store, and then also went to Melissa from Housewives. What's her last name? Gorga new store. They're right
Oh
near
yeah,
each
New
other.
Jersey. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh
did
wow.
that
Okay.
yesterday.
Wow.
I'm all over the place.
You had a
Uh,
great time then.
it's been busy. How about your weekend?
Pretty busy. Feeling better, but we have been action packed, of course, into projects. Gosh, we've been working and working, working. But as you said, being busy, we've got a number of scaled projects at our firm, from commercial to residential to building coffered ceilings to putting in floors. Gosh, we've had two floods in basements, and we've
Oh,
had to, of course, remodel two basements completely gutted here because of a flood.
hmm.
Gosh, and then there's the fun, subtle projects where you get to just have decor and order tables and chairs and pillows. So we have been extensively busy. There's a broad scope of projects, so we've been really busy.
I got to imagine the fun part is the variety in the projects that you work on. It's always something different. But why don't we walk through
Yeah.
that one ceiling that you were, I think,
Mm,
just working on?
yeah.
What's going on there?
So yeah, just kind of coming in, and we started this morning. We've been working on the project for about 2 weeks, and it's a brand new coffered ceiling design that we decided to put into someone's foyer. And so we have the guys up on scaffolds, and there's a lot of logistical scheduling that takes place with these projects for our homeowners, a lot of scheduling.
Hmm.
But also too, because of them being on a scaffold, there's safety precautions, obviously, that we have to take, which is why it's so important about the logistics and scheduling. But the color is a beautiful navy blue. We're putting in this really cool X design, literally the letter X design in the ceiling. We're about 20 feet high, and the guys are up there doing and plastering their little hearts away, as I
Wow.
say, right now.
How do you describe that ceiling? What is it called again?
It's a coffered ceiling, and it's a way to be able to put in a really cool design using, whether you're using wood or drywall, but there is a process to the design, and the designs can be a number of them. Most people used to see or are used to seeing squares, kind of like a tic-tac-toe board type coffered ceiling. And those ceilings go, gosh, they go back to, really ancient times, from a design history perspective. Coffered ceilings have been around
Hmm.
for, gosh, centuries.
Wow.
But the way that we do them obviously has changed. But this one we're using wood, primed wood for this. And the guys are doing some skimming and making sure that the seams are seamless and all of that. So yeah, we should be done with this by next week. So it took us about 3 weeks to do.
So you say there's a X design up there?
Yes, yes. So again, with that, and we're preparing really for the apple or the icing on the cake. And the icing on the cake is this really amazing light fixture, chandelier, that
Ah,
we're gonna have as a teardrop. That's going to be about 20 inches wide, its own base. There are levels and lengths of variety of these lights, and it's about floating somewhere about 11 feet high above the actual foyer floor. So this is the one part of it, but the icing on the cake is really preparing for this amazing chandelier light fixture.
so I'm getting visuals here, and you
Yeah.
describe it so well. I now I have the picture of what that ceiling is. Yeah, we've seen them a ton of times before. gives depth, right? So there's,
Correct.
some, depending on what it might be, 6 inches or whatever,
Yeah,
that it's inset. Is that chandelier going to deploy from where the X meets?
absolutely.
Okay.
You got it. You got it,
Yeah.
Steve.
That's a
It's
cool
going to
idea.
deploy in a teardrop, different levels all the way down. And
Wow.
our clients are extremely excited about that. This light fixture is it's custom made and it's actually overseas as we speak. And so there are a lot of details that go into that as
Wow.
well. Because we're preparing for those kinds of things, obviously it takes time for that to be produced and we can't wait for that. So we've had a lot of vertical work in this project.
Wow. I can't
Love it.
imagine doing that kind of work on a ceiling, on a wall, call it the wainscoting. Uh,
Yes.
Sort of reminds me of that, although, much more depth for the ceiling,
Yeah.
but it's easy on the wall to do it, up there. I don't know if they pre-prepare pieces and then put them in place, but
Yeah, you have to. These guys literally built this vertically. This
mm,
was something, so there's a number of ways that you can do it, obviously, if you build the pieces first and then hoist up. You have to have a number of men to be on the scaffold to give you the scaffolding space to be able to hoist up an
sure,
actual beam, right?
sure.
So, but in this case, if you build it piece by piece, it's quite laborious, but building it piece by piece allows you a little flexibility with the contractors in terms of getting up and down a little bit more at ease without trying to hoist up a very heavy beam. But
Wow.
so the guys are doing an amazing job. It again, it's just that careful time that you actually need for this kind of project. You can't rush it. Definitely can't rush it. So
Final
yeah,
question on this particular project. Is
yeah.
this in I think you had said a foyer area? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Where's it actually going on?
So it's in the foyer of a residential property. It's a single family home. They actually have a coffer ceiling that the builder put into the home some years ago. So when I came in and when I come in to do a consultation, the really good reason for us doing all of this is not that there any other reason is a bad, it's just that people sometimes maybe not see the importance or relevance of the consultation, but it's for us to really see what other spaces or other designs you may have that we can play off of to accent, complement, or just create its own special space. So in this case, they have an existing coffered ceiling,
Oh,
which is painted in their family room. The inset of that is navy blue. So I said, how about we do this? What will we see when people come through the front door? And at that present time, it's absolutely nothing. It was a basic chandelier with a builder grade paint ceiling, 20 feet up. So I said, let's create an amazing design right at the front door so that
mm,
as your guests come in the door, they have this really cool visual upward now, and it leads them literally and walks them towards the back, which is where the family room's coffered ceiling is. That's a great transition from one space to another space, all by complimentary.
wow.
Yeah,
Need pictures when you're done.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. What else you working on? Let's take us
Oh
through
my gosh.
some of the projects
Um,
of Lynda.
Yeah, so we are working on that. Obviously, we're designing a dining room in addition to the foyer. So again, we want to build up on that space. So the dining room is simply amazing. We have some custom artwork, oils that we are having produced right now overseas. I've just spoken to the artist himself that made a few touch-ups to it. It's amazing pieces that are about 40 by 42. So that tells you the extensiveness of the size. We have some beautiful textured silk wallpaper that's going up, and a 10-seater size table that's about 108 inches long.
Hmm.
Beautiful chairs that have this wonderful pattern. We call it the before and after, where you have two different patterns on the chair. And so that's the beauty of that particular room along with the foyer. So again, we're working all of that and some aspects to her family room that we're sprucing up a bit. But also, gosh, we have another full remodel, first floor remodel that we're getting ready to actually start where The homeowner wants the kitchen, the family room, the living room, the dining room, the powder room, the second floor, everything gutted. So we're taking down plaster ceilings, which takes a lot of, again, logistics, but taking down plaster ceilings in all of those spaces and a new kitchen, gosh, new kitchen features, family room, living room, dining room, furnishings. So that's another
Wow.
major scaled project for us. And then we have another project in another part of Maryland, Brandywine, which we're working on that basement that flooded. And that's a full remodel. The family wants a whole recreation room full of entertainment TVs and stone walls and a bar and countertop space to eat and dine. So it's all parts of that is fun, right? The activity, recreation for family and friends. So just to chill out. And so, yeah, and we just finished up this one over in Northern Virginia. So we've been all over Maryland, Virginia,
Wow.
and DC, literally.
Take me through that process. Now, your that downstairs where pretty much everything is being redone.
Yeah.
Are you managing the project as well, or because you designed it, you're keeping tabs on it? How's that all going?
Yes. So, our team has a number of aspects to any project, obviously, depending on the level. All of these projects require a project manager. So the project manager's job responsibility is to really do all of the logistical scheduling of all those aspects. So whether it's contractors, whether it is the delivery, installation of everything, from a consolidated delivery of goods, they handle those aspects of it. Now, obviously, I manage it in the way so that I can be sure that the project flows in the phases, because there are a number of phases. One of the phases would be the schematics, and that's us sketching everything out, Steve, all the floor plans and coming up with concepts and figuring it all out. And then it's actually your design development, right? So your design development is where we say, oh, I love a chair right there. The chair would fit. Oh, let's put in a beautiful sofa, this size, scale, type, that kind of thing. The stuff that we've been talking about, right?
Hmm.
Pillows, draperies.
Yep.
That's the design development. And then, of course, it is really the work crew. Okay. So the work crew comes in. That's the work installation of it all. The contractors come in, start tearing things up so that we can beauty everything back up. And then there's the design installation. And that's where the big reveal comes in, or design implementation. The big reveal comes in, and everybody's really happy about seeing the finished work. So there are a number of areas in a full project that we manage from concept to completion. And so within all of that, you get all these details like the scaffolding and the work crew and schedules and managing everyone so that guys aren't working on top of each other, because that can be a bit much. But then all of the goods, where they all come from. So as we said, we have items coming from overseas. So we have to make sure that when those things come, that we're there to receive them, but they're ready to go into place. And we have a design team, my design assistants and I, which we love these parts. We get in, it takes us about a good week sometimes. If it's a full scope like these projects are, it takes us about a good week to finalize everything to say welcome home, or welcome to your
Mm.
space. And we love the welcome home part.
Did you hire in this one project where the downstairs is pretty much being redone?
Okay.
Are those your contracting crews in there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So because we have so many, as you've heard, we have people deployed at varying stages, right? So, and at varying points of the project. So today, obviously, I needed my carpenters on site to really fix some things that we saw in our coffered ceiling that we needed to mud and or skim, as sometimes the carpenters and painters would say.
Hmm.
But then I have some other carpenters that are at the basement project because they're installing doors, because we're preparing for delivery of flooring. So our flooring is going to come and arrive on Thursday. So we need to be sure that our doors and door frames are all in, so that we can start preparing to install the doors. So again, they're there. The project we finished up in Northern Virginia, um, we'll probably have a carpenter over there sometime this week. So again, it's kind of staging everyone around, but it is a logistical schedule that has to take place for it all.
And it doesn't have to be done with your crews. Let's say somebody's comfortable, got a recommendation for somebody does sheetrock, somebody who paints. You can
Yeah.
manage that using their crews.
Well, we try to be very cautious about that. The reason being is because we're not really sure of their workmanship.
Yep.
We have serious expectations on our projects, Steve. So really, it's a matter of if I don't know how you work, I really would have to micromanage to some degree.
Mm,
And that's not something we really want to do because we have other things that we really have to do. But I've got to be sure about your work, even though someone else is giving you a rave review, but I don't know what their expectations are. So
sure.
standards are different. And so the standard of this is that I have to be sure that my standards meet those expectations of my clients all day long. And if they don't, then I'm there to say, hey, look, I need for you to tighten this part up. I need for you to do something extra to this because I'm not satisfied with this particular part, maybe. But generally, overall, the guys do an amazing job with the work that they do. But I just can't guarantee that with someone else's crew. So we just try to caution that
Yeah.
if as much as possible.
Well, it's all
Yeah,
about expectations. So you know how your crews work.
absolutely.
You may bring somebody in at the recommendation of your client, and then they may leave the project and not come back for a few weeks. And maybe that's how they operate, but that's maybe not how you
Exactly.
operate.
And we've been hearing so much about those kinds of things along the journey of the business that we've been in,
Mm,
where contractors have left projects unfinished. There have been numerous ones on television, on the news. So, and I feel for clients that actually have that experience because we know that's not us and that's not our standard, but it's really hard because you're thinking and trusting someone in your home
yep.
to do what they said they were going to do at best. Just do what you said you were going to do, and I can pay you on the basis of what I said I could pay you. That's kind of how it goes. But for us, it's a lot of contract agreements to be very sure and clear about the work. The scope of work has got to really be identified so that we can say, okay, scope of work is complete, move on to the next project, or, we have a punch list, or it's called maybe a snag list. So that punch list, snag list is we need to make sure that everything is the way that it should be in order. Um, if it's not, and we walk that with our clients, we really walk it with the clients. And so if our client says, looks great, then we feel great about it and we're all good. If the client says, I see something, can you show me such and such? If we say, okay, yep, it should be like that because of, or we've got that, we're already on top of that. That's kind of how we move through those projects. But again, generally, today is our punch list number 2. And so we have some skimming after some things have had to dry. And once things dry out, you really can kind of see if there are
Mm,
gaps in maybe some crown mold area or the ceiling because it expands and contracts. You know all that stuff, Steve. It's that. If you start seeing those gaps, we address them. And we saw a few. I actually saw them, and I needed them to tighten that up. So that's what they're
sure.
doing up there. Yeah.
Oh, I know, because I remember once, I don't know, like 4 houses back,
Uh-huh.
I was doing crown molding for a bump out, like breakfast nook,
Yeah.
and the angles weren't perfect of the people that did it previously. Actually, I had the house built,
Yeah.
and now I'm trying to do the work myself. Um, it's not easy.
No.
Those angles were way off, so you had to make adjustments here and there. And caulk is your friend, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Caulk is your friend.
totally,
Yeah.
yeah. So I totally see what you're talking about, and for those types of projects, I
Mhm.
don't go there anymore because it just that's not my thing, nor do I
Yeah.
want it to be.
Exactly. They have a way of being able to do that. That's their thing.
Yeah,
It is okay, they see it, they know it. But also
craftsman.
knowing your material. You got to know material and what it's going to do. If it's something new, you might not want to try that out on a new client, unless you're familiar with it. And there are times when your contractors, mine in particular, they'll talk to me about a new product. They've used it before. It's golden, it's solid. We
Hmm.
think we should use it here. This is the recommendation because of. We'll go ahead and use it because they've used it before. But if we find something that we need to use, but we're really not sure. I'm a little leery about the, not being sure side
Sure.
because then it may take you more time to repair it than we're willing to actually pay, because that's not your scope of work. That's not what we're paying you to do, is to experiment, no. So, but yeah, so we've got quite a bit of going on.
What else is going on? How about another projects? Walk us through another one. Anything
Oh my
standing out?
goodness. So let's see. So we finished so we have a project. It's a commercial building that's coming up in June. And so we have to wait until some of the other contractors of this commercial building are doing the exterior. And so that we can get into the interior, because there's a lot of adjustment. It's a residential commercial building, condo building. So with that, when you have a number of floors and a number of residents that are all flowing in and out of one avenue, which is your main lobby or maybe the parking garage, there's a lot of logistics that have to happen. So what we decided to do was to wait until the exterior portions of that for the other contractors have completed that, so that the residents can start moving from the front back into their garages. And so more people can spread out. Right now, everybody is vying for a spot, in the front of the building, because the garage parking area is kind of filled with contractor material and things from this other crew.
Hmm.
So it's, again, logistics is move them in, move them out without a lot of headache on the residents. But that's a project we're working on with design, and that is the lobby of the condo building along with their lounge, which we're super excited about, because we're thinking about the Olympics as we even think about, homeowners wanting to come into the lounge and actually watch the Olympics and just chill out in their lounge, not necessarily go to their condo. What does that atmosphere feel like when you can sit in your lobby and just read, drink coffee, maybe take on a few of the episodes of the Olympics.
Sure.
And yeah, it's that.
Feels like you're on vacation.
Absolutely. It feels like you're on vacation. And that's exactly what we're designing for those residents, to include, kitchen area, workstations, so people can charge up maybe their laptops, do a little bit of work in the lounge area, come in, relax a little bit. The lobby, we're doing some major renovation there, because right now they don't currently have a reception or concierge station.
Hmm.
So we're having to actually create a concierge station there. So we're having to take down, some metal in the ceilings, metal design that was there for the last 40 years. We're going to put in some ramping, some ADA compliance. So it's quite a few things that we're going to be doing differently, obviously, in a commercial facility than your residential property. But this is great too. So we'll be starting that in June in Northern Virginia. But the main part of our projects, as I think about them right now, most of them are in Prince George's County, Maryland. So, but yeah, so we've had our hands quite full, and working on those, and getting ready to possibly take on another project here. That I'm meeting with a client with today to kind of go over some design as well. This is the very beginning phases of the schematics. This is a major home remodel. It was the parents' home she and her husband acquired, and they are gutting everything. It's literally, besides taking it down to the studs,
Wow.
they have reconfigured everything. So in this case, they were able to, Steve, get their own architect.
Ah,
And that architect has already come up with a full page, a number of pages of the design, of which we get to come in now and start building in cabinetry and fixtures and furniture and, window treatments and that kind of thing. So we're looking forward to that for this family. So, but yeah, so quite a bit
oof.
happening.
You know what I'm getting from you, Lynda? It's there. The design is the design. That's, part of the work, but the logistics, my gosh, there's so much going on. It's not just, hey, I want to be artistic. I want to come up with,
Correct.
functionality and colors and things like that. There's
Yeah,
so much more that goes into all of this.
absolutely. And every client that has called and asked us about it have said that they are overwhelmed, and or they don't know where to begin, or they have pieces and thoughts about what they want to see. They're just not sure how to put it together. So on all of those scales, it is we come in as a design firm to really take on all those needs. We have busy clients, professional clients that have very busy schedules, and a lot of them are on travel a lot of times. The client that we're working on for the Foria, I mean, there are times that she's been in and out. I think she's been on travel at least twice since we've been on this project. So, that happens. So they have, busy lives professionally, which is why it's good to call the designer because we can handle all of those needs. It's a one-stop shop for us, which is great. We have everybody and everything that you could possibly need, including HVAC. We have a project we're getting ready to work on with the full remodel where we're taking down the plaster ceilings. They need a new HVAC. So
Mm.
we have an HVAC company that we have worked with on many projects that we call in. Hey, we've got an HVAC issue here. We've got units that are different. They're producing different air pressures at different points of the house. So we need to get that, monitored, repaired, calibrated, or what have you. We have our flooring folks. We have subcontractors, but then we also have prime contractors that particularly can do flooring materials and flooring and have a bigger crew. So the bigger the project, we can generally go with more of our prime contractors that can produce more, labor in the window. If they're smaller projects, then we have our own subcontractors that we can put into the field onto that project because we only may need one or two persons to take on the labor or the scope of work for that. So depending on the scale of it, we obviously can provide our clients with whatever the needs are, which is really great. And I love my team. I absolutely do.
You're not trying this alone. It's never going to come out the way you want it to.
You're
Take it
not.
from me. That's my experience. I'll never do it again. Uh,
Absolutely.
Lynda, how do we find you?
Um, they can find me, you all can find me at cidbylynda.com. That is our website. And Lynda spelled with a Y, and to go to Creative Interior Designs by Lynda with a Y. We'd love to chat with you about your project coming up. Send us an inquiry, or you can reach us at 301-298-9090 if you have some questions, if you'd like for us to come and take a look at your project or in the Maryland area, or if you're not in that Maryland area, you can always call us and we can do a Zoom meeting, and look at plans for you or to come up with some type of rendering for your projects if that's something that you acquire. And then we can, of course, turn it over to you if that's something that you want to do, or we can even provide the services. So you can definitely reach us at the website, or you can reach us on at our office. And we look forward to talking with those that are listening. We appreciate it.
It has been amazing working with
Yes.
you during these podcasts. Just your creativity is over the top. Your passion for all of this.
Oh,
It's like you started yesterday, but you have the experience of years.
oh,
It's
thank you.
super cool.
Thanks, Steve. I've been loving this. I appreciate you. It has been such amazing working with you, talking with you, talking about interior design, the connection that you actually have with it. We love that because it is fun and
Yeah.
it is great talking about your spaces. And I have so appreciated you in this. And this is our final podcast. And oh my goodness, what are we going to do, Steve, on these Mondays?
I don't know. We need a TV show, HETV. I'm working on
We
that.
need a TV show. I'm gonna have to share that with you. I really have to share that with you. We're in the talks for some things by network, and so when we
Cool.
do, I will most assuredly contact you and
Awesome.
at PPN and let you guys know how we're doing.
Well, that's where you belong as well, but also in everybody's home, making it look beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we'll catch up again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good one.
You too. We'll be right
All right.
back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.